started.
Good morning. This is the December 16th Bike Pedestrian Transit Subcommittee meeting in the Village Committee of the Whole room. We're going to kick the meeting off at 9:04 a.m. today. Commissioner Greco, would you call the roll, please?
All right. Commissioner Wagner.
Here.
Commissioner Leishman.
Here. Leishman.
Leishman. Mary Ann Greco, here.
And Commissioner Amore has an excused absence for today's meeting. All right. Moving on to item 2, public comments. There is no members of the public with us this morning, so we'll go straight on to item 3, amendments to the agenda. Is there any proposed amendments to the agenda today?
I have no amendments.
I have none.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 4, approval of the minutes from last meeting in November.
Did you want to table them until the next meeting so Commissioner Mori can read them, or?
Commissioner Wagner?
Yeah, so Commissioner, I apologize. I have not read the minutes.
Okay.
So.
Then in that case, I would entertain a motion to table this item until our January meeting.
Like a motion to table approval of the November minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion to table the approval of the November minutes until January. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion passes. So we'll bring that up in January when we are in full capacity. Moving on to item 5, business. First item for business today is the Golden Shovel Program. Commissioner Greco, would you like to lead the discussion on this?
Absolutely, I'll introduce it. I don't know if everybody had a chance to read the proposal that I put together. It was more of exploring some of the different ways to structure the program. Just a tiny bit of background. The goal is to encourage people to keep the sidewalks clear in order to encourage active transportation or walking, especially people with wheelchairs and strollers. Other towns have had programs, a Golden Shovel awarded to either individuals or businesses that do an exemplary job of clearing the sidewalks around their businesses. Some ways to consider that, especially the first one, a simple way is just some social media shout outs. So basically every time someone is nominated, they get a shout out in social media. The businesses will especially like this. Private owners might have some privacy issues with it. I'm not sure. We could focus on businesses the first year and take nominations for just awarding a business that's done an exemplary job all season. Let's see, and a couple ways to structure that. One of them is to let's see what. I'm sorry, I've totally lost my train of thought. We can judge it, like take nominations, have people write why, and then just judge the best. It would be the best essay in that case with pictures. Or we could just enter every nomination into a raffle for some kind of prize.
Okay. So just to make sure that I understand, option C, which is the most worthy nomination, would be pretty similar to what the ECC does for like the Green Champion Award, which is, solicit nominations and then we'll go through them at the end of the season and award the most deserving, basically. Is that your thought?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what I'm thinking. So what we're here tonight is to decide what structure we want the first year, and then what we want the final structure to be as we have time to create this. And it can be more than one, it can be multiple. The businesses could have a different structure than the individuals. I do want to say I added one more thing. Maybe nominate a whole block, because that would really encourage community And they would have little friendly competitions among themselves. And then one of the prizes could be like a free block party for the block that wins the best snow clearing. I know the village has the trailer, which I think is provided free, but if it's not, I'm sure we could talk them into letting us use it for free for the prize.
I like the idea of having a block competition. I guess the issue is promoting it and publicizing it. How are we going to get that out to the community? My thought was to start with a business district like, the Villa Avenue Business District, to see if they're interested, since they're organized. I apologize. I was going to reach out to Tony Odo, but I didn't do that.
I didn't have a name. I had looked up some names, but did not follow up either. Tony Odo, is he someone who's active in the villa?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was kind of the leader. He owns Anthony Pizza.
Oh, okay. So he should be easy to contact.
Right.
Um,
And there's more. We have Villa Perk, whatever that event site is going to be, where the bank building used to be, Captain Mike's. It's not open yet, but
yeah, but that, whatever,
you'll
there's
see it
options,
across
yeah.
the street. And it was Frank Carlson's building,
Oh, I know which building you're talking about, yeah.
and I don't want to digress too much, but there are vaults in there, and he's going to put like a wine cellar in there, and special events, and he's a chef, kind of an entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
So it's really exciting. If you go past it, you'll see it. He's kind of improved the facade of the building.
So I think he's someone who would be all about ways to make it easier for people to navigate the sidewalks, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So with Villa Avenue in particular, do we know?
Sorry.
That does remind me to go.
Sorry. That's my phone.
With Villa Avenue in particular, do we know traditionally how they handle snow clearing on those sidewalks there? Like, is it? I assume some of those properties are owned by a landlord, and the businesses are just renting that space, and the landlord is probably responsible for clearing the sidewalk in front of that building. Is that done, on a block by block basis? Is it?
I don't think they have. Some business districts have something. I'm thinking of Batavia. They have a kind of a business corridor, and they have a machine with the brushes on it, and it clears the sidewalks. I don't think there's anything organized like that in the Villa Avenue Business District.
Right. Well, I'm going to, in the interest of time and because there's so many unknowns, I'm going to suggest that, and I'd be happy to reach out to Tony Odo, and I will just work out something with him, and then we can see that we can, what I'm thinking is for the Villa Avenue, I'll see if everybody agrees for this year, and then we can refine it for next year. So I'll try to get them on board with kind of among themselves awarding who did the best job, like a little competition. We would be happy to act as judge facilitators. And then at the end, would it be appropriate to have a little ceremony at Village Hall?
I think that's a good idea. The other thing, you could contact neighborhood watch groups, which I don't know how they were active.
Yeah, I'm focusing on Villa Avenue right now,
I know,
refining that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll reach out to Tony Odo. We'll figure out a mechanism for determining the best that could involve us.
Or they could,
cleared.
the business owners along Villa Avenue could vote for who they think is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So but I'll just work that out with them, whatever they think best, because everybody's going to vote for themselves. So if they need us to facilitate, And then maybe Alan's idea will give them some kind of award to put in front of their business. He had suggested like the toy shovels, paint it silver, and then I added maybe get a little shepherd's hook to hang it from.
We need to paint it gold. It's a golden shovel.
Right.
Just joking.
Yeah, no, we should. We should
Yeah.
paint it gold and maybe even like in some kind of permanent marker right on the blade what it's about.
So,
But even if it's just an award that they hang in their window, but we'll give them something that acknowledges that.
yeah.
Um,
I do like the hang in the window idea because then we don't have to. There's less concern about it being something that could be stolen.
okay, yeah.
If we were going to do some, I would really like something that could be freestanding out on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
But I know there's a lot of theft issues around town. I mean, I even heard where the little free book stand that the cart that Cornerstone has out in front of their store for free books, that was stolen the other
Really?
day.
The whole cart?
The whole cart, yeah.
I think they have it chained too.
Yeah.
Wow, somebody was ambitious. Yes. Okay, award from us, golden shovel, hang in window.
No,
yeah.
not malicious, not vicious.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
childish prank, but
The other, I did have one other concern about the Villa Avenue idea.
mhm.
I don't want it to be the award for whoever on Villa Avenue pays their snow clearing company the most money and gets the most frequent service.
Yeah.
If that's what it ends up being, it's not the worst thing. It still gets those sidewalks clear and encourages people to walk. Long term, I would like there to be some sort of program for just residents in our village. Basically a way for people to thank their neighbors for doing a good job. But if we're not ready to come up with a program for this winter, that's totally fine. It's just a concern that I wanted to voice.
Well, I wasn't focusing on Villa Avenue to rule out the others. I just
Okay.
wanted to kind of like finalize that portion of it because
Sure.
that is low hanging fruit.
Okay.
So I was hoping to like kind of knock that off now, and then we could focus on how we can implement the broader one for the residential part of it.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to get, if everybody's in agreement, I'll reach out to Tony Ono and see if we can work out something for this year for them. But I want to commit us to helping to judge. So to your concern, do you want to do it like an essay where they nominate each other? And one of the criteria can be, well, I don't know, neighborliness isn't as much of an issue when you're having a competition among businesses.
I have, I think, either us judging it or them voting amongst themselves is fine. And I think it's worth giving it a shot. It'll be interesting we may find like after our first winter of doing this that there's one person that wins it every single week because they have a snow removal company on the side that that comes there every 6 hours to clear the sidewalks.
Well, I was thinking one for the season, like who did the best over
Okay.
the season.
Okay.
But that's still, it's whoever pays the most money could win it, right? Or has a side hustle, yeah. All right, this is way more complicated than I thought when it's a committee, but that's okay. But because it involves like them, are you okay letting me just reach out to them and working something out and committing us to judging it? I am thinking whole season rather than weekly,
Okay.
because then we only have to do one award.
Yeah. And yeah, that's fine by me. I guess I was just envisioning something different that like passes from one business to another throughout the winter. But if we just do it for the whole 2024 winter, that's perfectly fine with me. And I am fine with you reaching out to talk with them about this.
And committing us to nominal, like at our March meeting, making the final determination based on essays and pictures.
Absolutely.
Okay, and to your idea of it being passed, the one example of that, it was every season.
Okay.
It did get passed, but it was like who won that year.
Yeah, I suppose if we could, if we're doing it on a season by season basis, it could either be a shovel that, says 2023 champion or whatever, or it could be one that just says Golden Shovel Award, and then maybe below it we say 2023, and then we have like the recipient business that year. And then next year we add a line for 2024 and the business that won that year. And that passes around on an annual basis.
We could take the shovel and then hang snowflakes with the business's name in the year.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's, so we maybe want a slightly bigger toy shovel, but.
Yeah. But we can totally figure out those details later.
If one of you is available, we could maybe meet with Tony together so we have extra input, because you're definitely refining my ideas for the better. So, all right, I'll reach out, see if there's a time. Maybe we can have dinner there one night and chat with him about it.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Just see if I have his number.
Yeah, and what I can do is I can call him, tell him the idea, see if he wants to talk to the other business owners, and then we can meet to refine it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the nice thing about doing it for the one award for the entire season is really all that we need to tell the business leaders early is, pay attention to who's doing a good job this winter.
Yeah.
And keep track of that. And because this is something we're going to be asking you about in March or April or whenever we decide to finalize this. So there's not really a lot that we're asking of people outside this team immediately.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I like it. Okay. All right, so that's one action item that we'll just implement this year. Okay, residential. I did propose some questions to put on a simple Google form. I don't know if the village would need to approve that form. I certainly don't mind gathering the data and keeping track of responses. It is on the last page, just above the other programs, nomination form, possible questions.
Okay.
And I did not do it yet, but I was going to also add, business, church, other organization, individual, or block, and maybe have a tick box for each, or we narrow it down to just some of those choices. I'll give you a minute to look at those.
Thank you.
When I think about clearing sidewalks, I think of people who have, you may have a neighbor like this who gets up early, doesn't use their shovel, uses their snow blower and clears a section of the block. Or somebody who has an elderly neighbor and shovels for them. Those are kind of nice. Those are kind of things we want to encourage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with starting out with that. Like, who has been your most helpful neighbor nominations? And then I like it if we're on board with that, kind of just focusing on that angle for now. And then do we want to pick one person at the end and award them? Do we want to enter every nominated individual in a raffle of some kind? We have some budget, we could buy some prizes, but we could probably get Ace or Jewel or somebody to donate something.
I mean, you can print out a certificate, something.
Well, I was thinking if we put them in a raffle, we want the prize to be significant. A $20 gift certificate is significant.
I think I'm still fleshing out this idea in my head, so
Okay,
it's
no.
a little bit half baked. But I think it would be good to. I'm not sure that our first year we're going to get a ton of participation in this sort of survey approach, and that's fine. I think as it gets more publicity, we will get more participants and people, nominating their neighbors and stuff like that. But since our numbers may be low for the first year, I think I would prefer some sort of incentive program that lets everyone that's been nominated know that they've been nominated and that their neighbors appreciate them, rather than doing something like a raffle. And so that could be a very small reward. It could just be like an email that we send to them, or a letter that we send to them, or even, if we don't want to pay for postage, we could even just like tape it to their front door saying, you've been nominated. And if we do just start a conversation with those people, then we can ask them, do you mind if we share on social media, especially if their neighbors submit a photo to the survey? I do think that we should have the nominees' permission before we post anything. But I think at the very least we should notify everyone that has been nominated that their neighbors appreciate them.
Yes, I actually agree. I had assumed that they would be notified that they were in the raffle, but I like where you're going with it. So we would need the nominees' permission to give their name to the nominator's permission to give the name to the nominee. I mean, we would assume that they would want to be thanked, yeah.
I think the nominations could possibly be anonymous.
Yeah. Do we want to make it just a simple email or like a website with a QR code so that's a simple survey? So I'm pretty confident I can build the Google form.
So I think the nomination form should be, I think a Google form or a Google survey, whatever they're called. I think that would be the easiest way to do it. We could just leave that survey open all season long. And so I think that's how we should solicit nominations. And we could, reach out to Donnie and basically maybe we just make a standard post with the link to the survey. And we ask him to repost it anytime that there's been a significant snowfall.
Yeah.
Much just have a very mild winter.
So
That's okay.
Yeah.
So I hate to interrupt here, but I did want to share the thoughts of Commissioner Amore.
Okay.
He did have opinions about this. Specifically, the concern that he brought to me was due to climate change. Our winters are going to get less snowfall going forward. And so he wondered whether this initiative was kind of worth our while if it wasn't going to snow as much anymore. those are his thoughts. Personally, I think we are still going to probably have snowy years going forward.
Oh, yeah.
The nature of climate change is, overall, the amount of snowfall that we get is probably going to decline, but climate change also causes extreme weather events. And so we may have very mild winters, but we also may have mild winters where we get one very big snowstorm in February. And even if there is less snowfall, there is still the potential for freezing rain if the ground is cold enough. And that's perhaps even more dangerous and needs to be taken care of more so than snow. So I just wanted to state those thoughts for the record.
I see both sides. I think it's worth trying and take a wait and see.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking if they're even more rare, then it's all the more important for there to be education about how to deal with it.
Yeah.
The freezing rain is a very good point and very likely scenario. So I'm inclined to go forward with it.
I think it's a good idea. I think we should make some effort, yeah.
We will reassess every year.
Yeah. And maybe in 10 years' time, this won't be necessary anymore. But we can address it at that point.
As we go. All right. So back to a residential program.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption.
No, that's fine. That was relevant and important. All right. So I'll create a simple form, make sure Donnie's okay with it, gather the data. We'll send an email to everybody who's nominated.
Yes, if we have an email address for them.
Oh, yes. We will notify them in some way.
Yeah, I think if it's...
I have no problem donating stamps.
Fair enough. I think if it is largely, the format that we're kind of talking about here where people are nominating their neighbors, I think we have to make the nominee's address like a required part of the form.
Right.
So that we can reach out to them through that method. Since, I have neighbors that I have no idea what their email address is.
Right.
But I do know which house they live in. So
that would have to be email if known. Okay. All right. I was recapping what I was saying. I should probably be typing this up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I realized that I'm asking you to lead a conversation and take minutes right now.
Well, I'm trying to remember what I've agreed to do as well. I may ask Cheryl for a copy of the recording, then I can.
Okay.
If I need to, then I can put together what we've agreed on.
Has anyone seen, have they posted the recordings at all?
My understanding is that there is like a village-wide Slack channel or something like that
Okay.
the files are being posted to. I don't know that they are publicly accessible. I'm not sure. We would have to reach out to the village about that.
Okay, so residential, focus on nominating helpful neighbors, address mandatory email if known. Notify recipient, email or letter, and you will provide stamps. I'll need access to the commission email or just ask you to do it, because you're the one who has been handling the commission email, correct? Okay.
Yeah, I can give you access to it. It's not,
Yeah, I didn't think so,
there's
yeah.
not a lot of traffic on it. I mean, yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll run the form and the letter by you before I start sending them, of course, and Donnie, to make sure he approves of all of this, yeah. Resend the link after every snow event. All right, so how do we want to, besides letting them know that they've been thanked, do we want to call it a contest with nominations, or do we just want to call it like a thank you or a rose or some fancy name for you? It has been acknowledged that you are doing a wonderful job. There's all kinds of things that they call that,
Yeah. So I think what that comes down to is whether we are going to do some sort of final award at the end of the season, like we're planning on doing for Villa Avenue. I don't think neighbors would be as interested in having something to hang in their window, but maybe yard signs, that could be, it could even just be a sign that says, Golden Shovel nominee or something like that.
I'm always hesitant with yard signs because of the environmental impact of all that plastic.
Yeah.
But
I think just acknowledging people is,
I'm also thinking, for the first years we get it rolling, maybe something tangible, but we don't have to. And then maybe at the end, a formal thank you at a village board meeting.
Yeah.
With a list.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I'm fine with that. And we can see. We can wait, a month or two to find out what level of participation we get in this, and that may impact our decision as to what. Maybe we're going to have thousands of people nominating their neighbors.
Yeah.
We can't afford the postage anymore, so we need to centralize it somehow.
Okay, but what I'm struggling with what to call it if it's not a nomination. Thank you seems too bland. It is a thank you, but and we don't have to decide that now. But if you want to brainstorm a minute or two to see if we can call it something, I mean, we could even call it,
I think you can still call it the Golden Shovel Award.
A Golden Shovel rah-rah.
It's just presented any time that you're nominated. We could have a little golden shovel in the letter that we send to the person.
Right, yeah.
And say, oh, you've received a golden shovel.
Maybe I could get some Golden Shovel stickers to put on the letter.
Maybe. Yeah.
So you're thinking still call it a nomination, or you have been...
I think that's fine.
You have been thanked, or you have been... Because nomination implies a single winner in my mind.
Okay. That's fair.
Well, I'll work on it. I can come up with something.
Acknowledgement, Golden Shovel acknowledgement, I don't know.
We used to call these things rah-rah awards. So, you have been awarded a Golden Shovel rah-rah, or Golden Shovel hooray.
I think you can just... I don't think you have to... I understand your point about, not wanting to call it a nomination. We could just call it the Golden Shovel Award. You've won a Golden Shovel.
Oh, right, yeah.
A
virtual Golden Shovel, right,
yeah. For every nominee that we get. And so, the letter will have a golden shovel in it. And that's the golden shovel that they've won.
Yeah, okay, all right. You have been awarded a golden shovel, okay.
Yeah. And I
will need to find a color printer, so you think the village would work with me if I sent Cheryl something? Would she print the letter and color and send it for me?
Yeah, she did it for me. Those things for the county program, she printed them out for me for the program on the 13th.
Yeah, because presumably, if we're getting into tons and tons of them, then it may not be an issue, but let's see. I can always take several letters to Kinko's or something and then get reimbursed for it.
Yeah.
Not Kinko's. Kinko's doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to be clear that like you don't have to do all these things yourself. Like if I if you would like me to make the Google form so that you don't have to worry about it, that's fine.
Thank you. Yeah. Right now, I just want to get a list of the things that need to be done.
Yes, exactly.
And then I will. It all sounds fun to me, so I'm hoping I can make the time to do it.
Yes.
But I will definitely reach out and ask for help if I need it. Thank you.
I mean, the first year it's going to be, you know,
Yeah.
just getting started. So it's,
Exactly. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation this month so that we can get it started this year so that we can learn for next year. You know, we don't know what's going to go wrong this year until we try it.
Right. So I think the simplicity that we've got here,
Yeah.
and I like delegating the business to the businesses themselves as much as possible. Yeah. But that friendly competition, it does motivate people.
Oh, absolutely.
So, okay, I feel like we have a plan. Do we need to vote on this? Or should we just move forward?
I don't think.
I think it can be just a consensus that this is what we
Yeah.
want to do, you know, that what you've expressed, that your plan,
Right, because any money that we end up spending would have to go through ECC anyway, so then we'll get the voting.
Yeah. I don't think anything we've outlined so far directly costs the village money. So yeah, I would entertain a consensus to, you know.
I guess there's no harm in actually formally voting on implementing these two programs
Sure.
with the variables in place.
Yeah, I would entertain a motion to reach out to the Villa Avenue Business District to start a discussion about a friendly competition for a Golden Shovel program there.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'm gonna change this. When you say you request a motion, I always think you're doing it, but so RW first, reach out discussion. I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion to reach out to the Villa Avenue Business District to start a friendly competition Golden Shovel program. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and make the motion to start a simple Golden Shovel award for everybody who's nominated on the residential level for being helpful to their neighbors with appropriate criteria. Well, with the focus on being helpful to their neighbors. So is there a second?
Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion to create a residential Golden Shovel program to encourage people thanking their neighbors. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion passes as well. Is there anything else that we'd like to discuss on the Golden Shovel program before we move on? Okay. Let's move on to item 5B then. That is the North School Walk/Roll to School Day program. Commissioner Wagner, would you like to give a report of the discussion we had at the PTA meeting earlier this month?
Sure. Commissioner Leishman and I went to the North School PTA meeting. The assistant principal was present. I can't remember how many people were there. Were there 7 or 8 people?
That would be my guess, yeah.
Yeah, so we just passed out some flyers about Walk Roll to School Day, and said that it was on Wednesday, May 8th. We'd like to get something rolling, no pun intended, and that we were just there just to kind of see whether there was any interest, and of course they were interested, and we were careful to say this, we're just kind of testing the water. We know that it has to be approved by the principal, Fred Lineweber, and the district. And so they were, I would say, enthusiastic. They thought it was a great idea. And I think the next step is to set up a meeting with the principal to see how we could proceed.
Yeah.
'Cause I think if he buys in, I think that then the district will buy in.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I believe that some of the members of the PTA also mentioned that they would reach out to the principal on their side as well. So he should be expecting a contact from us.
Yeah, I got a feeling the assistant principal relayed information to him.
Yeah,
So,
that would make sense. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
so is it okay with you if I set up a meeting with Fred Lineweber?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so RW will do that.
Is there anything else we'd like to discuss on this item? Okay, let's move to item 5C, kind of a similar item, Bike Month, which is May of next year. I know we were interested in starting the process of brainstorming things that we could do to celebrate Bike Month. Did anyone have any good ideas that they wanted to discuss today?
So I had talked to Sandy Hill, our library director, because I had seen a promotion for a bike movie called Machine Within. And it's produced by, I think I've mentioned this before, Ant Hill Productions. And just coincidentally, I got another email from them to say, because they were looking for, when the movie was released, they were looking for venues to show it, but they wanted people to charge, but now they're just releasing the movie, and they wanted, they wanted to know what the venue looks like, how they would present the movie, etc. They have some flyers you can use to promote the movie. So I saw clips of it. I thought it was it's kind of from around the world how people, how bicycles are important as means of transportation for people. So Sandy thought it would be a good idea, so I just need to follow up with them about how we could get the rights to show the movie. Of course, there are other bike movies, even if that wouldn't be, there are other bike movies that can be shown. I'm trying to think, what's the bike movie where the kid is in a town in Indiana, and he's training for some sort of cycling event. Oh, I can't
Don't
remember.
know that one, yeah.
It's a pretty popular movie.
Well,
It's
I mean,
kind of a
that's
classic movie. But
yeah, there are
lots
movies,
there's
yeah.
lots of bike movies that
the
can be shown.
Italian movie, the
Yeah,
La
it's just
Bicicletta.
getting the rights to show them.
Yeah. It made me think about there was this brief series on WTTW, which was about bicycling in different cities. And then it had little maintenance tips like interspersed in throughout the movie. And I know the producer of that, so I don't know if we could get permission to show some of those or not. But it's also going to be kind of dated now. Whereas what you're talking about, how people use bicycles around the world,
Right.
that even if it changes in that country, the idea of how it was done still has value. But anyway, I like the idea, a bicycle-related movie. I've also seen like bicycle art shows where there's just people bring in art that has to do with bicycling, which would tie in with a movie because a movie is art. So the whole bicycle art fair. Though I think if we're going to do bicycle stuff, it is important to have a ride of some kind.
Yeah, I don't want us to kind of overcommit ourselves in the month of May, but I do think we could certainly handle the North School Day, some sort of bike movie screening, like you're describing, Commissioner Wagner, and then the rite of silence like we did last year.
Rite of
Okay.
silence, right. We're scheduled to give one smart cycling class. Ooh, I have to make sure it's not on the day of spring sweep. But if it is, so be it.
Isn't smart cycling, or isn't spring sweep in April?
No,
No?
it's in May.
Oh, okay.
It's
Apologies.
the third Saturday in May typically.
Okay, that's my mistake.
So this is the smart cycling class that was supposed to occur in the fall, and only one person signed up for it.
Fair enough.
So there was an agreement that, okay, let's cancel it and see if we can do it in the spring.
Yeah.
So,
It'll be good to check the date of that, make sure it's not when spring sweep is. But I think if we focus on those four things, I would like to see more participation in Rite of Silence this year. So I think maybe we need to be thinking about different people that we can reach out to in the community that might be interested in joining us for that. Don't need to discuss those right now, but
Right, but I think that is very doable,
Yeah.
just organize it a little bit more in advance.
Yeah.
So we can get some more participation. Yeah, whether we glom onto the Elmhurst one again or just have our own, I agree, it's very doable and more doable than trying to organize our own separate ride event.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I think we all know our action items on that. Anything else we wanted to discuss for Bike Month?
no, we did, so last year, it was really through Ride Illinois, and, I think do you all know Kim Messina from the Elmhurst Bike Club? So we did,
I know her on site, yeah.
we did bike safety presentations at all of the District 45 schools, not the junior highs, not Jefferson or Jackson, but we did them at North School. We did them at Schaefer. We did it at Westmore. We did it at Ardmore. We did it at Stevenson. We did it at York Center. So it was basically like an hour bike safety training. And it was, the ABCs, air, brake, chain, cassette, so forth. And then it was in just, basic stuff, and the kids loved it. I mean, it was, so we're supposed to, I talked to Claudia Garcia. We're gonna do that again this year, but earlier. So it was like the last 2 weeks of May. It was kind of intense, so, but I think we're gonna do it earlier in May, so that'll be part of.
Okay.
Okay, so should I just call that like safety classes at schools?
Yeah, so the schools are supposed to have some bike curriculum.
Okay.
They're kind of mandated to have some bike safety curriculum.
And so those classes are during school hours, right?
During school hours.
As opposed to the smart cycling class, which is
Which is handled by Parks and Rec,
okay.
yeah. And there's a whole structure for the smart cycling class, and you were there.
I went to one, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's really good. I wish it would be so much better if we could get more people interested.
exactly. There's drills, there's a whole manual to how to run the smart cycling class.
It's effective and it's fun too.
Yeah, and everybody that's done it has enjoyed it. I mean, and then at the end, we do a supervised street ride,
Okay.
so.
All right.
Yeah, I personally probably wouldn't be able to help with I would not be able to help with the classes during school hours,
No idea.
but I assume there's like some sort of certification process for like the smart cycling, to be like a smart cycling instructor.
So, yeah, so I'm a league cycling instructor,
Okay.
which the commission paid for. They
Okay.
paid for my training.
Okay.
And it is pretty intensive training, as I
It's a whole weekend, yeah.
understand, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, mine was a little condensed because, yeah, but it's basically a weekend.
Well, maybe I can, before our next meeting, I can look into that some more and see if it would make sense for me to go through that training so that I'd be able to help with that class in May. Because I don't want you to have to take on all this stuff yourself, Bob.
Yeah, because they now send me requests from different, and I'm not the only one. There's a couple LCIs in Elmhurst, and they send requests. The library in Niles wanted a smart cycling class in May, and then they also they want you to teach Learn to Ride.
Oh,
Which there are adult students who have never learned how to ride a bike.
yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's never too late. All right. Is that all we'd like to discuss for Bike Month?
I think so.
Okay. Moving on to item 5D, Pace Bus Route 313. I know in November we left a couple discussion items about, how we can, we're still kind of brainstorming how we might be able to promote the bus route. I have not reached out to the chairperson or the
Tom Marcucci.
yeah, Tom Marcucci. Thank you. I figured I would reach out to him for our January meeting. I was trying to keep this meeting rather short. The one thing that I did want to bring up for discussion today was I did have an idea for an event that we could do, kind of along the idea that Commissioner Amore brought up last month for a pub crawl. I was looking at the 313 route on Google Maps, and it does go by 3 breweries. Phase 3 Brewing in Elmhurst, More Brewing in Villa Park, and Noon Whistle Brewing in Lombard.
Okay.
So I was thinking about trial running this pub crawl myself with some friends of mine. But after I try that, I'll let the commission know how that went. I thought it might be a decent idea because, then we could potentially get the Chamber of Commerce for those 3 villages involved, Elmhurst, Villa Park, and Lombard. And maybe we'd even be able to get them to chip in some money to subsidize the bus tickets or something like that. Because then you're encouraging people to take the bus rather than driving their own car when they've been imbibing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah,
I'm worried that the timing of the buses won't work.
Exactly. The timing of the buses. Yeah.
And that's why I want to do a trial run myself. On weekends, it does get hourly service. So I was kind of thinking, basically you would hop on the bus, you'd start at maybe Noon Whistle in Lombard, spend 45 minutes there, hop on the bus, go to More Brewing in Villa Park, maybe spend 45 minutes there, hop on the bus, go to Elmhurst. And then the turnaround is the tricky part because, it's not going to be exactly an hour. But then you take the bus back from Phase 3 Brewing in Elmhurst to Noon Whistle.
And then for the actual event, getting the 3 bars to also, maybe have a drink special or some small token
Yeah.
that they give the people who arrive.
Yeah, and so it's exactly what I was thinking, and I think the chamber might be better equipped to facilitate those sorts of conversations with the breweries themselves. Does that seem like a reasonable idea to you guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, my concern is the timing of the bus,
Yeah.
and I think, yeah, would that be a way to encourage people to use the bus? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would seem kind of arduous to, to have a drink and then get on the bus and go somewhere else and have a drink, and, I don't know.
People love pub crawls though, and
Yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
is. So
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's absolutely worth an experiment.
Yeah,
Alex,
I
you
would
could
try it.
Yeah, try it. And then maybe put together a group and see how it goes. It's a low risk thing. If it fails, it fails.
Yeah. I've also never taken the bus before, so I haven't taken Route 313 before, so it'll be an interesting experience from that sense as well.
My mother, God rest her soul, she would come in from the city using 313, because it ends at the Green Line in Oak Park. So she would get on the bus and ride out to Villa Park.
Wow. She wouldn't take Metra?
No, there was no Metro close to that. My parents lived on the northwest side of the city, so they
Okay.
yeah, and then my dad would pick her up at the Green Line, and she would make dinner for us and watch the kids. So my mother was a saint.
Yeah.
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 Mom, can I drive you home? No, I'll take the bus. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Alan. I love it. Tell us how it goes. I'd say Kay and I come along, but it sounds like it's going to be an event for you to hang out with your friends. So,
Well, we'll see if they're as excited about the bus as I am.
Yeah.
you got to sell it. You got to sell it.
So there are bike racks on the front of the pace, so you could if you.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it's enough hassle to get out of the bar and get on the bus to have your drink and then put your bike on. Nah. No, don't even think about the bike part.
The farthest walk between the brewery and the stop is in Lombard, between Noon Whistle and I think the 313 stops at basically Westmore Mire and Roosevelt there. And Noon Whistle is like a couple blocks further west. I'm not sure if you guys have been there before.
So I've never been in Noon Whistle,
No.
but it's kind of in a strip mall, and it's kind of in the back.
It's kind of set back from the road, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the longest walk. I think it might be about 10 minutes or so.
There's not a bus stop closer to there. That's weird. That's odd.
No, I think the 313 keeps going south there along Westmore Mile.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't think it follows Roosevelt. But we'll see. All right. Anything else we want to discuss about the PACE route?
No.
Okay. Then moving on to item 5E, community outreach and education. I just left this on here because I think it's good to discuss what outreach we're doing. Is there anything you'd like to discuss since last time?
Other than, it keeps the momentum going to just bring it up. And I did get the post out about being neighborly and shoveling. I don't know if you saw, but as I was looking at what other people did, I also mentioned like clearing off fire hydrants. And there's something else I added to it too. But so I did get that one out this past week. And then I still plan on doing the joys and tips for walking in the cold and ice in January.
That'd be great.
And then we're, bike month, we're going to do a whole bunch of community outreach for that. So I don't know if there's anything else to discuss.
I have nothing to discuss.
If anyone knows anyone that has some graphic arts skills, I'm looking for someone to help create a logo for something.
Terry Hurley.
Who?
Terry Hurley. Do you know the Hurleys?
No, I don't.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I tried, I don't know if do you know Jeannie Corsini?
No.
She kind of let me down. I mean, oh yeah, I'll work on it. Oh, I'm doing something else and I can't do it now, so.
Terry was on the Summerfest Commission that first round when they first invented it. So yeah, I can see what she's up to.
Okay.
Can I ask
know
what it's for? Or are you not at liberty to discuss?
I want to create a walking club.
Oh, okay.
And I'd like to have a logo that I can put on a website, something, or, on social media.
I'm going to put this under comments, commissioner comments.
If this other person falls through, my wife is pretty talented.
Okay.
If it's just something like casual, like what you're like you're not going to want that logo copywritten or anything, are you? Or trademarked? I guess you are.
I don't know. So my idea would be at some point to create T-shirts with this.
Okay.
With the logo on it.
Yeah.
I think isn't the copyright process kind of it's not simple.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I think you would only want to pursue that if you were concerned that someone was going to steal this logo from you. And you don't,
Yeah.
I can't imagine you would care about that, right?
No. I mean,
So,
I mentioned it before, the village's logo is not copyrighted.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's something like that, my wife might be able to help as well.
Yeah. My son can do that. I mean, but sure, I'll do it, Dad, and then it never happens.
Yeah, just let me know if
Sure.
this other person falls through.
Can you send me, do you have her contact information?
Yeah, I'll have to dig it out.
Okay,
but,
no problem.
I've got a note to myself to do that. What I'll probably do is copy both of you on an email and introduce you to each other. And I haven't talked to her in a while, so she might be too busy, and I'll frame the email that way.
Yeah.
Like if you're interested and have time, and yeah. Okay.
All right. Any other outreach stuff? Okay. Let's go on to item 6 then. Commissioner comments. Would you like to start, Commissioner Greco?
No, I talked about everything I wanted to.
Okay. No comments. Commissioner Wagner?
I have nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Leishman, I have a few things worth bringing up. I was at the Active Transit Alliance and Ride Illinois Suburban Advocacy Call earlier this week. So both Dave Simmons from Ride Illinois and Maggie
Serwinski.
Yeah.
Thank you for the assist on the Polish name there.
That's her married name. I don't know. I can't remember what her first name is.
Fair enough. They both gave presentations that I thought were pretty interesting. Seems like Ride Illinois is pretty involved with like the legislative side of things lately. They're working with the Secretary of State to update the bicycle-related recommendations for driver's ed training, which I thought was exciting. And then they're also working with the State Board of Education to implement some formal like bicycle-related curriculum for targeting mostly middle schoolers. There is a National Bike Summit coming up in Washington, D.C. in March.
Yep.
He asked that if any of us are attending that we let them know. And also, probably the most important thing I got from him, if you guys are looking to renew your Ride Illinois memberships, there is a code to get a $10 discount on that. It's coupon code Yay Bikes, all capitalized.
YEA,
Y
YEA,
YAY, I believe, but I will double check that.
YAY, bike.
Bikes with an S.
I'm not a member of Ride Illinois. All my money goes to Active Trans.
Fair enough. They also announced that the Illinois Bike Summit is going to be postponed until 2025. Because I think that they are broad.
They usually do it every other year, yeah.
I think it was supposed to be this year, but they postponed it to 2025 because they're broadening scope to focus more on like both bike and pedestrian focused activities.
Ooh, okay.
So that might be something for us to consider sending a representative to.
I've been to 3 bike summits.
Okay, down in Springfield.
One was in Bloomington Normal.
Okay.
One was at UIC in the city. And I can't remember where the other one was. And
Were you able to contribute, or was it more just about the value of the information you got?
I went there to attend. There's lots of valuable information.
Yeah.
And the commission paid for it.
So that might be something for us to look into next year. On the active trans side, this January, the ATA is running training for their street team that does advocacy for ATA initiatives. There's both an online session on January 9th, and then there's 2 in-person sessions on the 17th and the 25th. I registered for one of those. I'm interested to see how it goes, get more involved with active trans. It is downtown Chicago, so I think it's mostly going to be city people, but Maggie said they would be very excited to have suburban people as well.
So they have done suburban advocacy meetings, and I can't remember where the most recent one was, but they did things that they had advocacy meetings that were just in the suburbs.
Yeah, and they are trying very hard to give the suburbs their due.
Yeah.
They definitely
Right.
understand the value and the need.
And then the last thing from Active Trans was I think that they are planning on having their own summit that they're calling Bike/Walk Every Town sometime in 2024, but I don't think it's been officially scheduled yet. Presumably that will be in Chicago.
And they recently had their membership gathering at Revolution Brewing, but I couldn't go.
No, I didn't make that.
Oh, yeah, their annual membership meeting, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was on November 28th.
All right, but those are all the comments that I had. There are no members from the village board or village staff. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
And I will second.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
All opposed? See you later.